Just a quick service announcement before we start. During the next week, we're going to be doing something a little bit different for Christmas. So instead of our two normal long-term FM19 stories, we're going to be doing a special 4 or 5 part challenge on the channel. So after today, the next episode of this story will be the same day next week. But I hope you'll check out what we've got in store in between. Hello and welcome along to another episode of this FM19 story, part of The Furniture with me, Daniel. It's Season 4, Episode 3, and today we continue our Checkatrade Trophy campaign with a big game against Chelsea U23s. And the reason we're showing you this one is because just like real life, Chelsea U23s is good enough to be most people's first team. In addition to that, because we're going to be rotating our side and showing you some of our young talents in action, we're also going to take a bit more of an in-depth look at our training and mentoring groups. I know it's something that's been discussed quite a lot in Football Manager this year, so I'm just going to show you what I've been doing now we've got some good personalities at the club. But first, you can see from our team news, we've picked up a couple of knocks recently, and we've had 2 games since as well. I know you can see the results, but let's show you in more detail. Obviously, you were with me for that brilliant win over our rivals, Plymouth. It was an unbelievable performance, and we came away deserved winners, despite waiting for a 93rd minute penalty. So if you haven't seen that one yet, it's a great game to watch, so go back and check it out. But we did follow it up with a disappointing draw against Leyton Orient. We went 1-0 up early on with Owen Jack, but Macaulay Bond, just like he is in the National League in real life this season, made things look very simple and scored a hat-trick in the first half. But more remarkably in this game, we missed 2 penalties with 2 different takers. Andrew Nelson took the first one. Despite the fact we tried to change it to Freeman, I think we just got in a bit too late, and as a result he missed the first one, and then we changed it to Freeman successfully the second time, and he missed as well. And that was all in the first half, as well as the 5 goals that were scored. So an action-packed first 45 there. However, we did follow it up with a win against Stevenage. We won 3-2. It was pretty comfortable until stoppage time, where we gave away a late goal, which made things a little bit scary in the last 2 or 3 minutes. As you can see in that one, we did lose both of our central midfielders, and they were both in the first half, unfortunately, and we'd already lost Shea Facey the game before. And while we're on the topic of Stevenage, make sure you go and check out yesterday's episode of The Head Coach, our other FM19 story. It does feature Stevenage quite heavily, but I'm not telling you why. But moving on to today, we've got Chelsea under-23s. If I go and show you the players that are in that side at the moment, they've still got Jada Silva, a 6 million rated left back, who's very talented indeed. They've also got Ethan Ampadu, obviously an absolute star in our FIFA 19 career with Crew Alexandra. He's been fantastic for us on that, and I hope he isn't today with Chelsea. You can see in the 3 seasons of this game, he's been on loan at Udinese, Southampton and Watford. So he's got plenty of experience too. I didn't look at the Silvers to see. He's been at Rangers, Reading and Bristol City. So he's got plenty of experience himself. They've got a young 18-year-old striker worth £7 million. He's electric, quick and a good finisher. We can't do much about that. But we did promise we're going to show you a bit more about the training, so let's take you in. If it's not your cup of tea, then you can skip a couple of minutes to the match. But we won't take long, we just want to show you what we're doing here. Obviously, we've got the luxury now that we've got a few players at the club with decent personalities, something you struggle to get in the lower leagues. We've still got this problem with Zane Westbrook, who can't train well no matter what we do, but we're not worrying about him anymore. If I take you to the individual training first, we've set almost everyone up to learn a specific role. The only ones we haven't is where they're playing in a role at the club and they're completely comfortable. So for example, our 4th choice lone centre-half, Kane Evans, is completely natural as a centre-half on defend. And that's the tactic we use, so we're not willing to train him for something else, because that's where we want him to be strong. So as an alternative, he focuses on one of his weaker attributes, and then hopefully he gets a quicker development in that. For other players where they're not completely natural in their roles, we train them in the role that we want them to perform at the club. So our fullbacks on support roles, because a lot of them are only defensive minded, and we want to improve their crossing a little bit too, but we let them do that naturally through the role, because there isn't a focus on an attribute group that allows practicing in crossing and dribbling and things like that. We've got a few of our wingers that are natural in the attacking wing roles, and we've brought them back to be left and right midfielders on the winger support role, and we're also getting a lot of them to work on quickness where they're a bit slower. At the age most of them are at, they should be able to develop that, and hopefully they'll be able to get that little bit quicker and that extra spring in their step by the end of the season. And then up front, we're desperately training Owen Jack in the advanced forward role. He's coming naturally as the pressing forward, but he just worked brilliantly as the advanced man. His shooting's brilliant, but we're trying to work on it yet further. We want to get him as strong as possible. Technically, he's still got a bit of development room aside from his finishing. And once he's done that this season, we'll start to get them working on their preferred attributes. So like placing the ball in the corner and things like that. But there's plenty going on behind the scenes in training to try and make these lads the best they can possibly be. Both to maximise our success on the pitch and maximise the income we receive for some of these lads inevitably in the future. We're in League 2, we can't fool ourselves. We are still going to be a selling club in the near to mid future. Let's also look at mentoring. That's the other thing that we're focusing on at the moment. We've got a lot of young players at the club and we're now lucky enough to have a couple of players with decent personalities. So in the first group, Johnny Byrne is the team leader, the captain. He's fairly professional and he's got a significant influence on the group. That means that all the young defenders we've brought in, so the 3 young fullbacks and Matthew Platt, are all working under him to try and develop. They've all got balanced personalities and hopefully they'll be able to learn little bits from him. So Carl Roberts, for example, he's been training really well working under him. He's got his determination up by 1 attribute point already, and a lot of his technical and mental attributes are developing a little. So it's not just about changing their personality, it's about developing the same mental attributes that Johnny Byrne's got, which has made him that character. It's a gradual process, but it will work eventually. Matthew Platt's a little bit older, so we don't expect him to learn quite so much. Again, he's only got a balanced personality, but he's not too bad mentally. It's just things like decisions, where Johnny Byrne's okay, and he's developing from that. So I'm really pleased with the way it's working with these guys. Eamon McCabe is trying to get some of the aggression out. He's actually brought his determination down. We're working on his quickness off the pitch, so his pace is going up too, and he's going to be an absolute superstar for us. Then Caleb Richards, probably the only one we've not seen too much mental development from, but a lot of his fullback attributes are moving up nicely, and he's even developing in set pieces for some reason. So we're not going to complain, we need one in the future that can take them well. In the second group, we've managed to get Stuart Moore, our backup keeper, who's a fairly professional personality. And we've also got Oliver Shenton in on loan. He's resolute. They've both got an average influence on the group. And they're working with 3 of our youngsters behind the scenes. So Owen Jack, even though he's a key player, he's a youngster. He's not got much influence on the group yet. He's in one of the smaller social groups, a bit like Carl Roberts and Richards in the other one. And we're just trying to develop them so they can all work towards a core social group. And more importantly, we want to get him to fairly professional. You can see mentally he's developing already from this. His leadership, his composure and his work rate have all gone up. And he is developing in other areas too. His finishing's already gone up since he's joined the club. And he's one hell of a free kick taker for some reason. He's consistently one of the best trainers at the club. And I just know this is going to turn into one of the best signings we make in this whole series. Whether we go on for 25, 30 years and win a Champions League, he will still be one of the first ever stars. We've also got Adam Phillips, one of our central midfielders in the first team, and James Devine, one of our youngsters. He's fairly ambitious, we're just trying to develop that further. He's not trained too well recently because he looks like the type of lad that may need football to succeed. First team football's on its way, he's going to Harrogate and hopefully he'll do well there. So that's a little bit about what we do behind the scenes with mentoring. And a lot of these players we're trying to develop you're going to see in action in a moment. So let's get into the game against Chelsea and see the lineup. You can see Chelsea are heavy favourites for this game. We won our first game. Chelsea lost on penalties to Stevenage, which does give me a bit more hope. They've got a lot of players on international duty, even from their under-23s, so they should be a little bit weakened compared to normal. And maybe the likes of Ampadu won't be there as a result. But let's look at the rotated lineup we've picked. We've gone almost with a backup 11 where possible. So Stuart Moore starts in goal. He's only played in this competition and the League Cup so far. Roberts and Richards are the fullbacks with Kane Evans and Matthew Platt in the middle. Leighton Clarkson and Conor McKendry are the wingers with Walker and Devine in central midfield. And Kennedy and Nelson are up front. Hopefully Nelson will finally get a goal and we'll change him to a pressing forward once the game starts. There are a couple of tired legs on the bench such as McCabe and Brozier, but they're only on there because they won't be available on Saturday due to going on international duty. We've got a few who were injured who we're trying to recover, so Jack's tired and then Westbrook's coming back from injury as is Aaron Davis. So we're struggling a little bit and we're down to our bare bones, but I'm sure we'll manage somehow. And we've got a few other first team players such as Walker, Shenton and Byrne on the bench if need be. And we've also got one of our under-18s on there. Ross Dix getting his chance because he's got the only good personality in there. Fairly determined, although he does argue with officials, so he might not be the best game for him. Let's get into it and see if we can get a result. 4-3-3 for Chelsea. They are captained by Ethan Ampadu and they're playing N'Golo Kante. What's going on here? He's reached 30 now, but he's world class. He's only played one Premier League game. I don't know if he's been injured. We're going to have to check that, because if he's not been injured, that's an absolute disaster to football. 27th of July, 2 months. Okay, he's just coming back from injury. He's getting his run out in the under-23s, and of course it has to be against us, doesn't it? One of the best central midfielders in the world. One of the stars of our FIFA 19 career, who's widely tipped to become a great footballer. He's obviously quite good mentally there, although he's only rated 77 as a signing for us, which seems a little bit strange, and I have no idea why, because he looks like a superstar. And then they've got Jamal Blackman in goal, 27 years of age now, and he's still at Chelsea, although he has been on loan at Leeds since this save started. So plenty for us to worry about. I'm sure some of these youngsters are brilliant as well. We just don't know their names because they've only come through in the last year or two. We're playing our usual 4-4-2. We're going to try and encourage the lads, are we? Let's just do it. We're not too worried about this game. A few of them are motivated. We're going to change Nelson to his usual pressing forward role. And fingers crossed we can achieve something from this one. Let's start the game. It'll be the usual empty stands, as the Checkatrade Trophy has sort of bought with it in the last few years, since they developed and introduced these under-23 sides. Kante's got the ball early on to Benson. He finds Hayes in the middle. Chelsea are definitely going to have some of the possession in this game. With Ampadu and Kante in central midfield, we've got basically no chance of dominating that area. We've got the ball in the middle with Walker to Devine. Switches it over to Clarkson on the right. 10 minutes in now. Finds Kennedy in the box. Deflects back to Brad Walker. Just wide of the post. But that's a good early start. And it's very unusual to see N'Golo Kante losing his runner like that. He must be a little bit rusty. Kennedy gets the ball, but he loses out in the air. And now Brad Walker. He's going to get the ball to the left to McKendry. McKendry up to the top. He's headed away, and now Kante can bring it away for them. So composed in the middle there, back to Jamal Blackman. And flicked on by Hayes to Mazzucci, I think that is. Mazzucci charging at the area, goes for the shot, but it's a long way wide. And with 15 minutes gone, it's still 0-0 as my voice starts to disappear. It's Chelsea with possession in midfield from a free kick. Roberts heads it away, but we're under a lot of pressure now. Kante 30 yards out, switches it brilliantly to the left of Benson. Hayes gets it into Benson again. He cuts it back to Hayes. Hayes into the middle to Ampadu. He finds Kante. Two brilliant players in there. They're dominating possession. Hayes gets the ball to Kante for the third time. Kante for the shot, and it's not far wide. But we survive at 0-0, and now we have the goal kick. More over the top. No one's chasing it, so it's headed away easily. Brad Walker wins a flick on, and it's cleared away by Chelsea. Kante's got the ball in midfield again unopposed. Charging forward, but luckily McKendry intercepts. Gets Nelson in one-on-one. Nelson shoots, but he just cannot get a goal for love nor money, and it's wide of the post. But with 25 minutes gone, we'd certainly take the start we've had so far. Palmer heads the goal kick away, but only as far as Brad Walker. Nelson to McKendry, over the top to Kennedy. He's got it from the Chelsea mistake, finds McKendry in the box, deflects off the fullback and behind for a corner. But we are starting to assert some dominance on this game now, and we've got an outswinging corner here with McKendry. In towards the back post, but is headed away, and Devine finds Evans on his way out. Evans finds Devine again. He finds Matthew Platt. He's got a man on the left in McKendry. Delivers, brilliant ball, but it's just over everyone and headed away, and Mazzucci clears long for Chelsea. Evans with a big hoof back over the top, and it falls back to Devine 30 yards out. He finds Brad Walker, gets its way to the right hand side for Clarkson, delivers towards Nelson. Nelson's broken his goal duck, and we know what happened last year. We went on a 10-game run without winning in the league. He didn't score, he got a goal, and we went 11 without defeat, so hopefully that will happen again. And it's good with Broja going on international duty that he's back to form, and he's just scored again. A knockdown from the following corner. Evans headed it down to Platt. Platt shoots, and Nelson's on the line just to direct it in. 2-0, 2 goals in quick succession, and Andrew Nelson is back to last season's form. It's a long ball over the top towards Brown, and Blackman can clear it long downfield. Devine wins the header, but it falls for Kante. He gets it to Nunn and Hayes. N'Golo Kante, I have to say this now, he's one of my favourite footballers. In fact, I think he's pretty much everyone's favourite footballer, or one of. He's just so hard working, such a humble guy, and one of my dreams towards the end of this save, if we reach the Premier League or the Championship and could get an old N'Golo Kante to mentor some of the lads, that would be absolutely fantastic. Mind you, I wouldn't mind having Ethan Ampadu as well. Couple of minutes to the break, and we still lead 2-0. There we go then, Nelson's 2 goals are the difference at the interval. Let's give them a bit of encouragement. They've done really well, the lads. I didn't expect us to do so well, especially with the midfield they've got there. But they're all delighted, and hopefully that'll continue in the second half. It's Kennedy with the kickoff to Nelson. Nelson gets the ball over to the right for Clarkson. If we could score immediately from the kickoff, that would be wonderful. Into Kennedy, headed away, and they've just managed to get it clear with Mizuchi. The highlight ends, but we are still looking dangerous moving into this half. Kennedy's not had the best game, so he might be rested shortly, but other than that, we've had pretty good performances across the board. Simeo on the right for Chelsea to Gilmour. Moore makes the save. Looked like he made a bit of a meal of it, but he kept it out of the net, which is the most important thing. Mizuchi with the corner, towards Kennedy who clears away at the front post. In again towards Taylor, unmarked, but Moore makes a really good save from 6 yards, and he made it look more comfortable than it probably was. It's Chelsea with a throw on the left-hand side. We're coming up to the hour mark. We will think about our subs soon. And although Kennedy's having a bad game, I do have to think about the weekend as well. With Broja going away, Nelson has to play. With McCabe going away, Caleb Richards, the left-back, has to play too. So those two need to come off really. And Kennedy's got a chance here on the counter to improve his rating. But his cross hits the first man and deflects behind for a throw-in. But it's now Chelsea with an attacking throw. Gilmour on the right to Kante. Kante gets it back to Gilmour again. He tries to deliver, but McKendry intercepts. And he goes long and finds Nelson on halfway. McKendry over the top again. And Pardew's there mopping up to stop Kennedy getting in. Brilliant defending by him, and Richards finds Platt for us. We're at the back now with the keeper Moore. Long ball over the top, great kick. Finds Nelson who loses out, but Gilmour can charge at us now on the counter-attack. Here he comes, he goes for a wild shot from 35 yards, and it's comfortably over the bar, and we can deal with those all day long. It's a free kick for Chelsea in the defensive area. It's headed away by Evans. It was straight at him. A very easy ball to clear. McKendry gets it from Brad Walker on the left wing. Beats his man, crosses for Nelson, but he heads it just over the bar. And although Nelson's got to play at the weekend, his fitness is good. And I don't know if I can take someone off on 2 goals. I don't think it'll help. We've also got a bit of a problem in central midfield, as we mentioned. So we're going to rest Brad Walker now. Shenton will come on for him. We're probably strengthening the team there. A complacent Richards is coming off for McCabe. He's only got to play 20 minutes and then he's on international duty. And we're also going to take Macau Kennedy off, I think. But I can't see a striker that can come on for him. Who have we got available? Broja can do it. I suppose it's only 20 minutes and we'll see what he can do. Nelson will go as the advanced forward and Broja will go back to his preferred target man role. We seem to be getting a lot of wins in the air, so hopefully he'll improve that. 15 minutes to go and we still lead by 2 and look completely comfortable in truth. McKendry delivers to the back post. Platt wins the header. Broja tries to flick it on, but the keeper Blackman is really strong in the air there. Commands his area by gathering the ball. Gilmour's been warned to close down, so we're going to do that. Shenton goes over the top to Nelson. Nelson on the wing delivers, it just deflects. It was on its way towards Broja, but luckily the Chelsea defender got a leg on it. Blackman with a long goal kick over the top, which McCabe heads away. Sanford brings it forward, but only as far as McKendry. Shenton now over halfway, completely unopposed to McKendry again. McKendry taking his man onto the byline. Delivers for Nelson. There's his hat-trick, and that's why we kept him on. 2 headers in this game for him, and we lead 3-0 with Andrew Nelson getting back to form, which is arguably the most important part of this game. And not only that, you can see from the group table as it stands, Stevenage and Wickham, I think Wickham are beating them, and that means that we're through. We cannot finish lower than second if that result stays the same. It's Chelsea with a throw in an advanced position on the right. Gilmour's got it back from his man. He gets it into the box towards Hunt with Clarkson heads away. Taylor out to Benson on the left. His cross deflects and is cleared away by Devine. Devine goes over the top to Nelson again. Can he return the favour and get it into Broja? He does it towards the back stick, but it's headed away by the fullback to McCabe. Now Devine, in behind to Clarkson. He's got to shoot, he does, but Blackman makes a comfortable save. Not the most composed finish, but a brilliant move, and now our brilliant night's just turned sour as Shenton picks up a knock, and he may miss the weekend now. We've already got Westbrook struggling, Phillips is injured, and I don't know if we can take another injury in there. Brad Walker was knackered when he came off, and Devine doesn't look fit enough to play at the weekend. Nelson has another shot, but it deflects into the arms of the keeper. Hopefully a bruised ankle will still have him fit for Saturday, and we just have to give him a few days rest from training. Kante in the middle to Taylor. Taylor's gone over the top to the fullback. He's going to deliver it into Gilmour. Back to Kante. The final whistle goes before he can get a shot away. It's a 3-0 win. A quite brilliant performance against a midfield that had Kante and Ampadu in. Nelson with a hat-trick to get back to form in style. And I couldn't be more pleased with that night's work. We're going to tell the lads it was brilliant. We'll be passionate as well. The performance and the result was excellent. And we are throwing the Checkatrade Trophy after just 2 games. Let's see what they've said about the game. We received another 10,000 for winning. Shenton's injury, 1 to 2 days. He should be fit at the weekend, so no problems with that. You can see there Nelson ends his goal drought 11 matches before that one, and then once he got one, he got 3. And hopefully that means he'll go on a run of scoring now, and if he does the same at the weekend, Broja might find it hard to get back in. Torquay have qualified after just 2 matches. We can even play some of our under-18s in the next game, give some of those youngsters a taste of football. Nelson got a hat-trick, we've got to go and praise him. I don't know why the button's not there at the bottom sometimes, it just seems to randomly appear at different times of the game. We're going to praise his last game, superb in front of goal with a passionate response, and he's now got the perfect morale leading into the weekend's match. As we said, we are going to skip quite a bit into the next episode. We'll either go forward to around the end of November, start of December and show you a game from there. The episode after next is definitely going to be Oval away on New Year's Day. It's a fantastic match and it'll be the opening of the January window as well, so we can show you our plans, what we want to do in terms of transfers in and out. But before that, we will show you one more game because we can't play nearly 20 matches off camera without an episode. We'll come back around halfway in between the two. We'll try and find a meaningful top of the table clash between two sides somewhere, so I'll see who's closest when we get to each match. But that will be all for this episode. If you did enjoy it, please put a thumbs up on the video. Let me know in the comments what you think of our start to the season. Do you think we've got a chance of winning the Checkatrade Trophy, or should I throw all my eggs in the League 2 basket? The last question, do I sacrifice an FA Cup run, is something I'm not sure about this year. With the start to the season, I feel like I have to go for promotion first. So do I just let the cups go entirely? Subscribe to the channel for daily Football Manager content from my 2 FM19 stories, this one part of the furniture with Torquay United, as well as my other series, The Head Coach, The Journeyman Save, where we work under a director of football with no say in transfers or contracts. As I mentioned, Stevenage featured quite heavily in yesterday's episode, so go back and check that out if you haven't yet. We'll also have weekly content from our FIFA 19 lower league career with Crew Alexandra, where today's opponent Ethan Ampadu features quite heavily. But a massive thanks for watching this one as always, and we'll see you next time.